Is Eve, everybody. I didn't plan on going live today for any reason, but if you've been paying attention, everybody knows about Per Engblom and the ongoing appeal process where he's been able to drag out his pending 380-day suspension for the positives he got back in 2023, right? 2022? I don't even remember anymore. Anyway, he went to the state. The appeal process, they were recommended reducing to 90. NJRC said, no, we're standing pat. Not much different than what happened with Don Tiger and Charlie May, remember? NJRC ruled that he interfered and got taken down in the Meadowlands Pace. The man went through the process, went to Superior State Court in the state of New Jersey, had it rolled. They sided with Don Tiger. NJRC said, screw you. It's staying the way it is, which they can do. But that's just to give you an idea of the power that the NJRC has. In this case, they did the right thing. In regards to Per Engblom, they issued him a 380-day suspension. He went through the process, split sample appeals, a stay through New Jersey courts. They ruled that it should be reduced to 90 days. NJRC used their authority and said, no, it's staying at 380. And that's where we were on a stay as of right now. Now, what does this mean? Let's go back to he's still racing everywhere and people are racing against him. He's crushing everybody, okay? There's not a goddamn thing you can do about it unless you can just beat him, right? However, somebody, Mr. Jeff Gural, on September 2nd went on DRF on the record and made a statement that he doesn't trust anybody. And that if he is not able to get this decision, and this is very important, reversed, okay, reversed, he will not be able to compete at his racetracks as of December 31st. He said if he cannot get it reversed by December 31st, which is tomorrow, he cannot race at his racetracks, right? So a lot of people have been paying attention now. It even made it to that chat forum where they were talking like human beings about this, because this may be something we can all agree on. You know, how is this guy still racing at all? But Gural was Mr. Integrity. He's going to stand up for the little guys, right? The people that aren't normally able to race, compete, and make some money at the Meadowlands this time of the year, right? Everybody drops in now. Yesterday for Friday. Who's got 6 in? I believe it is Per Engblom. I'm sure the draw is either done or near being completed right now for Saturday. Well, I found out that he is going to be in. He's also not going to be stopped, as per Mr. Gural's promise. His own words. So this morning, I was furious. Why I continue to fight for you people, I don't know. I've taken enough shit, but you know something? I know how it feels when you don't have a chance. And this guy had 2 horses, I believe, last week in the Open and finished 1-2. None of you stand a chance. So I emailed Jeff Gural, Bryce Cody, Jason Settlemore, a couple of my people I wanted included in it so they could see what's being said, right? I didn't expect a response. I got a response from my one friend, and I'm like, dude, we know. But I got on the phone with one of the people that I call one of my intermediates and someone who has sent me documents, regarding all this stuff, whatever, everything, someone on the team. So as I'm on the phone, I'm screaming at her and we're fighting back and forth and we're talking about the courts. And I'm like, who gives a shit about the courts? Jeff Gural, Mr. Integrity, in black and white, said that he is not going to let Engblom race if he is not able to get the decision reversed by, I dropped the fucking email. Sorry, that's how aggravated I am. I'm furious for all of you. I don't even race anymore. I'll never race again, but I'm mad for you, all of you. I look at my emails as I'm going through some other things. Jeff responded. Jeff Gural himself. and I'm going to read you this email. I am absolutely blown away. Because I asked him in my email for some kind of clarity. I told him I'm doing a live stream on Friday, and the contents of the live stream would be pending whether they scratch the horses. I'm thinking, well, maybe he's waiting till December 31st, even though we all know that there's going to be no reversal, right? There's nothing on the docket. All the decisions have been made. It gets much worse, everybody. Listen to what Jeff Gural, owner of Meadowlands Racetrack, said to me in his response. You don't believe me. He appealed, and the appeal panel recommended that the suspension be reduced to 90 days. The commission rejected that decision, which makes no sense. Why bother to appeal? Right. We know the NJRC can stand pat, like they did with Don Tiger and Charlie May. Right? Okay, fine. I agree. Jeff, the commission rejected that decision. Makes no sense. All right, but whatever, they did. I reached, now please, all of you, this is Jeff Gural's words. Listen to what I'm about to say. I don't know what to say in response to this. Jeff says, I reached out to the commission and asked if I could get him to agree to a 90-day suspension. Would they agree so we can put this to bed? Have any of you ever heard of something like this? Someone who's supposed to be the shining star of integrity, who went to bat for all of us, who was the backbone of the Federal Bureau of investigation and indictments of all these criminals and whatever, and him with his list of 30 people that will never be allowed to race at the racetrack again because of the findings and the testing done by the FBI, sent to Hong Kong. Oh wait, the ones he hand chose. Most are allowed back in, except for, I think it's only one other right now, or a few other. There's a few others who can't race the Meadowlands. But let's get back to, I'm asking you all, listen to what he said to me. I reached out to the commission, Jeff Gural said this, and asked if I could get him to agree to a 90-day suspension. Would they agree so we can put this to bed? I don't know what to say. The owner of the Meadowlands Racetrack is looking to cut a deal that if he can coerce or convince Per Engblom to agree to a 90-day suspension, would the NJRC concur? Even after a superior court appellate court made that decision and the NJRC said no. He feels as though he has more power and influence than a New Jersey Superior Court judge, and reached out to the commission himself, the owner of the Meadowlands, to see if they would reduce it to 90 so he can put this to bed. After he told all of us that if this isn't reversed by tomorrow, December 31st, 2025, he wouldn't be letting him race at his racetracks. And he goes on to say, they said no. So I decided that they were being unreasonable and decided to let him race. Owner of the Meadowlands Racetrack said this to me today. They gave me no explanation of why they rejected the recommendation of the hearing officer. Then he goes on to say, if you do bring it up, I hope you will tell people what happened. Oh, you're damn right, I'm telling them, Jeff. This supersedes everything that I was going to talk about on Friday, and the reason why. I thought maybe he was just giving them the benefit of the doubt, and holding up his end of the bargain that if he doesn't have a reversal by December 31st, maybe he let him drop in and then they'll scratch the horses. But then you got to honor the declaration. So I said, no, this doesn't make any sense. And that's why I emailed him. The decision has already been made. He lied to every fucking one of you. He was never not letting him race. He said in an interview, I believe it was with Derek Givner, on DRF Harness on September 2nd. You all saw it. It's still out there. There's screenshots of it even on Horseplop that they even agree. My most hateful haters of me agree on this one, that he's going to collapse. Something's not right here. Why did they let him drop in? Because he was never not going to let him drop in. You got the owner of a racetrack telling us one thing and then feels as though he has influence over the racing commission. Now, need I remind you, this is the same guy who tried to have me, his people, arrested when I brought facts out of their conference room because I knew I was being ambushed. This all starts to make sense. They don't want anybody knowing too much. That's obvious. That went nowhere. Jeff, Bryce, Jason, call whoever you got to call this time. Because there's really no disputing what's been done here. So right now, the Racing Commission stands on 380 days. Mr. Gural, who said once in September that to the horsemen, I'm not going to let him race if he doesn't get this resolved by December 31st, just did a complete reversal and said, well, I'm hoping they'll reduce it to 90, even after a court judge made that decision. The NJRC has made it pretty clear that they're not going to budge on this. So in the meantime, Mr. Gural's response to that is, well, if you're not going to do what I want, which is reduce it to 90 days for this guy, I'm just going to let him race now. And there's your problem. There's your hypocrisy. So I'm not going to talk about everything that I said had planned for Friday. And that's going to be, the focus now is going to be Taylor and Taylor versus Gural. And what they've been asking me for, which is basically a direct connection between Team Gural and someone who's posting the documents, like I have been, to the public and the media. Is there a direct connection? Yeah, there is, and I have it. Okay, they just haven't asked for it in the form that they should be asking. But I'm going to make sure that he gets it because I'm tired of the fucking lying. I'm really sick and tired of the lying. How you can do this to people that dropped in for this weekend thinking, well, maybe we'll make a few bucks shipping in from God knows where, because most of the, Northeast is pretty much shut down. What do you got? Meadowlands, and Yonkers, if you're allowed to race there. It's funny, Mr. Gural, that you actually, and, I agree on a lot of points, but when it comes to how you judge Joe Feraldo on how he runs Yonkers Raceway like a tyrant, you're no different. This proves it. You're advocating for a guy that's gotten a 380-day suspension for 3 different narcotics, right? The NJRC did its job and stood pat on their finding and their ruling, and you're insisting that they lower it to 90 days. But you're saying that Joe Feraldo runs the other track over there like a tyrant. Just plays favorites. Really? How come all those people that were on that list that you said during, what was it, Dateline? Remember? That they're not going to be able to race here anymore. The FBI did their job. These people were all found to be using this and this and this, whatever. They're back, but one isn't. Why can't Howard Taylor? I'm going on the record right now as to say that if you're using, or you're going to run your racetrack with a level playing field, right? Oh, the other guy was Nick DeVita that can't race at your track. I think they should all be able to race. Why not? What makes Per Engblom special? How come he's allowed to race? Why are you insisting that the NJRC reduce his 380-day suspension to 90 days? You tell us why. Why? Just to put this to bed? That's your reasoning? And in the meantime, everyone that's racing against him as he finishes first and second in the Open, as he's crushing lower classes with people coming in with horses from Monticello, Vernon Downs, Plain Ridge, wherever, trying to get a few starts and maybe keep their horses racing if that's what their motivation is, because they have no other choice. They got to try to make some money. They got to justify for their owners, whatever the reason is. You're accepting their entries and basically telling them, fuck you. You're not winning this race. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I have tried to understand, even through all the disagreements we had and the fights and them having the state police come after me, and that, there's bigger reasons behind this, that they're fighting the good fight, that he's, look what he's going through, look what he's done, which he has done. There's no disputing that he saved the Meadowlands. He resurrected a dying near-death Vernon Downs, and he recreated Tioga Downs. Thank you, Mr. Gural. Everybody should appreciate that. But what you've turned into, I don't understand, dude. I don't get it. How you pick and choose. And we've seen it over the years. A lot of people have said it. Look what happened. We'll go back to the Glaucine positives. Am I going to have to name names? I'm not going to. Maybe there is something to say about last year's comment for the Hambletonian, where the track got scratched up a little bit more because it would have benefits a horse that's racing barefoot. Anything's possible at this point. I thought it was insane that people would actually judge you for that. Now it's incredibly plausible. Why? Should we give you the benefit of the doubt? I don't know. I really don't know. I was in the office. Jason Settlemore and Bryce Cody, I hope you recorded it, with them before they tried to have me arrested. I was in Jason's office when I gave him information regarding specific trainers and what's going to happen. Pay attention to the way they warm up 8-year-olds, okay, like they're 2-year-olds, going 2 trips on a night when it's 20 degrees. Why are they warming them up this way? I said, pay attention. I said, one of these days, sooner than later, one of these things is going to drop dead. Their heart's going to explode. Jason knows this because he told me after it happened the next week that as he was driving to the backstretch, all he was thinking about was me and what I said to him. Now, I'm not saying that that's conclusive evidence that what I said was, but it's pretty big coincidence, isn't it? And we found out that it was a cardiac issue, right? But my point is, why do you keep looking the other way for certain people? And why will you make an example out of people that really have nothing, everything to lose? They have nothing and no way to defend themselves. You just another one that's just, low-hanging fruit picking to say that you accomplished something? Has it gotten to the point where you just give up? That even with, and I agree here, with everything that you have done, has it acted as a deterrent to stopping these pricks? No, it hasn't. And I'm sorry to everyone for that. That even the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the federal government couldn't put a stop to it by sticking people in prison. It's probably worse than ever. But I want to know, you say you're for the horsemen, you love the sport, you love being part of the sport, and the little guy needs help. Why would you do this to them? Why would you give them some false hope that maybe there'll be a few weeks or whatever that they can come down to your racetrack in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and maybe get to race on that big track that carries a lot of history with it, and maybe beef up themselves that, if they got an owner and say, hey, we're going to race the Meadowlands for, we're not going to be able to stay there, once the big guys come back. But, that juices the bottom line and maybe attract some new owners. Maybe a little guy spends a little bit more money. Maybe an owner that's just gotten in with some of these people says, yeah, that was a lot of fun. We got in the winner's circle at the Meadowlands. Oh, you know what? Yeah, we'll buy horses to race more upstate or in New England or out in Pennsylvania or wherever until we can do it again last year. And then just get, it gets them involved, really helping build the sport and the little guys that don't stand a chance against the top 5%. You just stuck it up their ass. You stuck it up everybody's ass. By far, the biggest bullshit fucking lie I have seen yet was what you said in the September 2nd edition of of DRF Harness. Why? Why would you do this to anybody in this game? They have no hope now. You're the one guy whether they agreed or disagreed with you, that was he's willing to stand and not take any shit from these guys. And in your own words, you're advocating for the guy with the 380-day suspension for for getting caught with 3 different drugs. I don't understand. Friday, I'm going to change that again. I'm going to have all of that, everything I will be sending off to the attorneys in New York City that have been asking for specific documents, emails, files, whatever, which it's not a lot of. But I want to make it clear to them that what you need to do is bring me in. I will give you what I have and depose me and ask the specific questions that I'll be able to say in response that, yes, me, individual, Bryce Cody, needed to approve it. See what I'm trying to say? Why would anything that was coming to me need to be approved by Bryce Cody? They made one very, at the time, it seemed innocent because it wasn't involving anything to do with Howard Taylor. But what it does do is it directly connects where the source is. Mr. Taylor, tell your attorney to open her eyes just a little bit more, and you'll be able to obtain what it is that you're looking for. Anyway, catch us all on Friday. Hey, let's watch the races on Friday at the Meadowlands. I feel bad for anybody who dropped in this weekend in those classes that Engblom had horses in, thinking, hey, well, he's not going to be there next weekend. Let's drop in. Maybe we'll get a better chance at a decent check, or maybe even win that race. Don't look at me. But I do appreciate Mr. Gural being honest. I don't know why he said what he said, but I certainly still cannot wrap my head around the fact that he is advocating for this person. I don't care how you justify this, Jeff, that, you just want to put it to bed. So then I think everybody should be afforded that luxury every time they're found guilty of whatever, and the NJRC, New York State Gaming, PHRC, Part-Time Honda Racing Commission, anywhere says you get a year. Well, the owner of the racetrack, well, we appealed it. They still found against you. Split sample, still came back positive. Went to the state. Well, the commission stood its ground and says, nope, you're getting the year. Racetrack owner says, well, can't you just lower it to 90 days for this guy? He's having a rough go of it. He's just a leading trainer and been crushing everybody. We need horses, 2 days a week. The reason nobody wants to race at your racetrack is because of this. Are you kidding me? Maybe if you did make it fair and you did stand by your words, more people would say, hey, we go to the Meadowlands because at least we got some kind of a chance. You reap what you sow. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say, I'm thankful that you turned down the Hamiltonian because you have no fucking right having it the way you're running your racetrack now. It's an embarrassment to that trophy in the history of the Hamiltonian. I pray to God that Campbell does the right thing, sticks it over at the Red Mile. I don't care if you're racing in front of 1,000 people. Put it at a racetrack that is worthy of holding that event, not this garbage. Peace.